Ciao ragazzi, il ritorno del tu per tu e non potevo che fare un ritorno mega galattico con questo format avendo con me un ospite stratosferico. Sono orgogliosissimo di presentare una persona che è venuta direttamente dall'Inghilterra per presenziare a Carabinieri 2024 ed è niente po' di meno che il Road Field Tester di casa Harrison, Sami. Ciao Sami.
Nice to see you, Nicola.
Piacere di averti qua con me e di poterti portare all'interno del tu per tu. Adesso con Sami faremo un video dove io andrò a fargli delle domande, parleremo della storia di Harrison, ma poi andremo a focalizzarci sul lancio tecnico, perché signore e signori, Sami è colui che detiene il record del mondo di lancio con una canna da carfishing e quindi avendocelo qua cogliamo l'occasione per poter carpire qualche segreto e qualche astuzia per poter lanciare distante. Quindi adesso iniziamo con l'intervista a Sami, Field Rod Tester di casa Harrison Advanced Rod. Sami, ciao.
Ciao.
Io sono rivenditore Harrison dal 2018 e sono rivenditore esclusivo Italia dal 2018. Quindi con Harrison è nata una collaborazione dal 2018 a oggi che è cresciuta nel tempo, però nonostante io continui a relazionarmi con Steve, non ho mai saputo la vera storia, la vera nascita di questo brand. Tu oggi sei in grado di spiegarmelo e di spiegarcelo a tutti noi?
So, long story short, Harrison started obviously with Steve Harrison, which is the founder of Harrison. It started more than 35 years ago when Steve was building rods for himself. Then, at some point, he wasn't happy with the quality of the blanks, so he decided to build the blank himself. So that was the starting point when Harrison Advanced Rods as a company started, with Steve designing not just the rods, but the blanks as well. So it started from there, and obviously because he's very good with building rods and blanks, so now more than 35 years after, he's basically selling all of the world. So that's the story behind the Harrison brand. Obviously there's more to say about it, but that's just a short version of what happened and when Steve started.
Quindi una storia iniziata 35 anni fa. E la tua storia con Harrison invece quando inizia, Sami?
So basically I had nothing to do with fishing at all. I've been into different sports before. I've done sports all my life, but nothing to do with fishing. So I had a reason why I've started, and then gradually get into fishing and then casting. So I had to buy myself a set of Harrison rods. A friend of mine, recommended the rods. So he said, well, if you want to cast a long way, well, you need to get onto these rods, which I did. I bought it for myself without knowing Steve or anybody at Harrison. And then I've just started practicing casting. After some times, not long, I've just realized that I can cast a lead a very long way. So therefore, I've sent an email to Steve, just, tell him who I am, what I do. He was very open. He said, yes, let's take you in. He sent me some rods, and then that's how it started. And from there, pretty much I've break all records within 3 years. Everything that was standing, there were records and distances that were standing for, I don't know, 10 to 15 years. I've just smashed them all in like 3 years. And it's all down to training. You make a lot of sacrifices because there's a lot of training. And obviously you need somebody like Steve behind you to just deliver every rod and every project that I come up with. He just gets it done within like weeks. For example, if I want a new rod, I'll give you an example. If I want a new rod with a specific, I don't know, power or a specific guide, I ask for it on Monday and I have it by Friday. That's why the progress with us, all the numbers you see on on all the social media accounts, it's because obviously the training, but there's a factory behind that does it very quick. So as I said, if I ask for something on a Monday, I get it by Friday. And if you think about, I've got a lot of friends on the casting field from different companies. They got to wait a month, 2 months, 3 months. For me, it's easy. As I said, within a few days, I get the products that I need, which then helps me to progress even quicker than anybody else. That's where I get my edge.
Sami, nella vasta gamma, nel vasto range di canne della casa Harrison, Trebuchet UFR è oggi la canna più potente, che poi è quella che ti ha permesso di raggiungere i tuoi record di lancio. Ma quel progetto, quella UFR lì, come è nata?
So basically, it all started from the casting field, because as any other rods, specifically the long range rods, they need to be tested on the casting field. So you can see how far you can go and measure exactly how far you can go. When you cast over the water, it's different. The distance is not as accurate. So it started from the casting field. I was using the TE, Aviator TE, which I think I've got to the limit of the rod at some point. So I needed something more powerful. So I went back to Steve, just asking for more powerful rod, and I needed, as you can see, the design from Aviator TE to Trebuchet UFR is different. On the Trebuchet UFR, on the tip section, we've got unidirectional carbon, which is basically the fastest recovery carbon on the market at the minute. So that's what he decided to use that type of carbon. So I needed a more powerful rod and a faster recovery tip. So that's why he came up with the UFR. Obviously, the first rod that I tried, it wasn't as good, but because, as I told you before, the things with us works very quickly. So when he sends me a rod for testing, if there's something I don't like, I can just say it the next day or 2 days after, and then he will get another one. And the process of testing and getting rods on the market is a lot quicker than anybody else. So I had the first test rod, I wasn't happy with it. Then I got the second one. Still, there was room to be to improve. And the third one is the one that you actually have today in the shop, and obviously everybody else. When we decided the name for the rod, we mentioned that rod is not necessarily designed for fishing. It's designed for casting mainly, and because there's a lot of fishermen that want powerful rods, obviously they start to bite the rod. Mainly in Europe now is a very popular rod for long range. As I said, very powerful. You can send a rig, a PVA bag a very long way, but at the same time, if you're a bit careful when you play the fish, there's absolutely no problem. It doesn't work like a 3.5 pound test curve rod, but you still got plenty of tip action to play a fish comfortably. So that's the whole story behind the UFR project.
E Sami, per ottenere quei lanci, qual è il piombo in termini di peso più ideale per la Trebuchet UFR?
So for PVA back fishing, you can use 100 gram lead, plus obviously the pellet and everything in the bag. That will go up to probably 140 gram, 135, 140. Mm-hmm. For rig fishing with a lead and obviously helicopter or whatever style you choose, I would say 130 gram lead plus the rig. That will be up to maybe 140, 145. So I'll say that is ideal. My record on the casting field I did it with 145 lead. So obviously you can use 145 plus the rig, but that will go up to probably nearly 160. So that's a bit too heavy. And obviously you need a bit of power to be able to push that very fast. I would say for regular fishermen, 130 gram lead plus the rig to go just just over 140 grams.
Sami, il tuo record del mondo di lancio, come hai fatto a ottenerlo? Cioè il setup che utilizzi per raggiungere quelle distanze lì, qual è?
So this is the question I get asked a lot. There's a lot of things behind the cast. There's a lot of things happening behind the cast. There's a lot of physics happening, a lot of body movement, a lot of elements that needs to come in place at the right time. It's not just I'll get a rod, put it above my head, cast, and then you go a long way. There's a lot of things that people don't see. A cast takes probably 1.5 seconds. In that 1.5 seconds, there's lots of things happening. So to answer your question, there's a lot of physics behind it, a lot of body movement, training, hundreds of hours of training, and then a very good rod. The line that we're using, it has to be, the regulations are, it has to be 0.25 and above. The minimum you can use is 0.25. Anything below that is not acceptable. Then moving into shock leader, I use 80 pounds braided shock leader plus 145 grams lead, which I've got it made for myself. There's nothing specific, it's just a normal distant lead, looks like a bullet. And I've got another question to, there's a lot of people asking the question, probably you've seen it as well. I've got a little black stabilizer on the back of my lead. A lot of people don't know what's that for. So that is for helping your lead to stabilize it. Basically, the lead is pointing like that when you start the cast, and obviously it has to come around and into a flying position. So what that does is basically just stabilizing the lead a lot quicker. You don't want that bumble, on the lead. So that's how you get. But quick answer is practice, the right rods for the job, a very good reel, a very good line, and it's just a lot of elements coming together at once. So that's how you get it.
Un totale di
exactly.
Di cose che sommate assieme
Exactly.
raggiungi quella distanza.
Yeah.
Sami, c'è la percezione che probabilmente è un errore comune, che per ottenere grande distanza di lancio serve una grandissima tecnica, ma nessuno parla del fisico, della potenza che esprime il fisico e di un fisico allenato, atletico, per poter fare quel tipo di lanci. Oggi tu, e grazie a te, io ho la possibilità di poter dire a tutti loro cosa realmente è importante per poter scagliare un piombo a distanze assiderali.
So I'll give you a quick example. If we get a 60 kilo man with a perfect casting technique to compete against 100 kilo man with an average technique, the big guy will always win. What that tells me that to a very high level, you need to have a good physique, a very strong physique. It's not about bodybuilding, it's not about being very big, it's about being very strong. Yeah, so being very strong, you'll be able to produce a lot of power, but we're getting in too much details. So anyway, the answer is technique and strength, they go together. If you've got a very good technique but you don't have the power, nothing. And the other way around. Yeah, if you are very strong and you big but you don't have any technique, not even average, not very good. So I would say, if we're talking in percentage, I would say 60% body, as a whole, strength, speed, and then 40% technique. That'll be 100%, so that'll be a very high level caster.
Quindi è in percentuale più importante il fisico che la tecnica.
Exactly,
Quindi tu consideri una tecnica sì parte fondamentale per poter utilizzare il lancio,
Exactly.
ma la maggior parte la fa un fisico allenato.
Exactly.
Quindi tu adesso che hai spiegato esattamente la parte più importante per ottenere un lancio, ma chi ci ascolta da casa, che penso che andrà a correre in palestra per adesso cominciare a mettere su massa muscolare, ma oltre a questo possiamo dargli anche qualche altro consiglio per ottenere dei lanci più prestazionali?
So, one very important advice I can say, what I always suggest to people is having a better hand positioning. Used to be idea back in the day that, and actually I think I've got enough room to show you. So back in the day there were people holding the arms all the way up here. That's not good. Having a better hand positioning will help you to cast a lot further. What I mean by that, so you need to push with your right one, yeah, and then pull with the left one, somewhere here. Now if you've got your arms all the way up here, it's very hard to move. Think about pushing away with your right arm from up here. What I would suggest to do is just drop this arm. Okay? Now you can use the power from your shoulder, and obviously it's more comfortable. So from this position to push and pull, then actually having to stay in this uncomfortable position. It's not powerful at all. If I would ask you to take any weight from your shop and carry it like this, you won't be able to do it for too long because it's not a comfortable position. Well, if you come here at shoulder level, then you've got enough power because you're using the shoulders are probably one of the most important muscle in a cast. It doesn't have to be trained. We all have it as a man, obviously women as well. We all have shoulder muscle. So that's very important for us to learn how to use it. So one advice from here to here so you can use the shoulder power.
Sami, thank you very much. Mi hai aperto una visione diversa per quanto riguarda la tecnica di lancio, quindi averti avuto qua oggi credo che sia non solo per me ma per tutti coloro che ci stanno guardando da casa sia stato oro colato, e sono felicissimo di averti avuto qua. Tra l'altro io sono il primo estimatore di Harrison. Un giorno promesso verrò io a Liverpool per conoscere Steve e vorrei che ci fossi anche tu insieme. Intanto io ti ringrazio per la presenza qua, non solo per la presenza che mi hai dato durante i 2 giorni di evento, ma anche all'interno del 2x2, perché secondo me questo sarà uno dei video più visti nella storia del 2x2.
Nicola, thank you very much for everything. It's been very nice to be here with you, answering all these questions. Hopefully we're going to have a great event tomorrow and Sunday, and just waiting for you to come to Liverpool, and I'll meet you there. In the meantime, there's a few things we need to do. And what is it? Pizza, pasta, tiramisu, and all of that. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you so much.
See you.